Hello again, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about hypothermia. It's very serious. You can get hypothermia real quick, really easily. You can get it even if it's 70 degrees outside. If you're hot and sweaty and there's a cold rain that comes up, you can start shivering. So it can drop your body core pretty quickly. So I've got notes here. I'm going to read off of them. So bear with me if I'm looking down, not looking you straight in the eyes. So what hypothermia is when your body starts cooling down. Basically, it's when you start your body core temperature and external or extremity temperature start dropping down. Your normal body temperature is around 98 degrees. Everybody is a little bit different. As I've gotten older, or maybe it's just the new testing, mine's gone from typical 98.5, 98.6, 98.7 down to I'm usually like 97.9, 97.8. So I've dropped where it could just be the more modern testing. But the early signs are shivering, and it's when you're doing it. When I say shivering, you're not doing it because cold chills or the old shiver down the back. Just you get a shiver in your body real quick. It's when your body involuntarily starts shivering. What it's doing is it's doing something similar to this to get the body temperature back up. Now, you'll start with your hands, your toes, your nose, your ears, things like that. You'll start feeling them get a little bit colder. Your hands don't want to work as well. What's happening is the body's pulling the blood flow back in from the extremities to keep the core warm. It wants to keep everything else alive. It's going to sacrifice these to keep this going, basically. You'll find that people will wear gloves. I wear gloves too, but go around the individual fingers versus mitts. Tight-fitting gloves are not good because that helps restrict the blood flow in the fingers. Also, when people say layer up, your body is creating a zone, a temperature zone in between those layers. So your fingers don't necessarily have the greatest blood flow, or your nose, or your ears, or your toes. They don't have the greatest blood flow. So they're going to be the first to start getting colder. That's why mitts are preferred in a really cold environment, and you wear gloves when you need dexterity. So and never wear really, really tight fitting because you don't want it to be clamping down on your body's ability to have blood flow going through it. So let's get to reading some of the things down here. Some of the symptoms are shivering, slurred speech, trembling. Stop, dog. Sorry about that. It's my dog. Shallow breathing, weak pulse, clumsiness, lack of coordination, drowsiness, no energy, confusion, or a little bit of memory loss. Of course, you can always get unconscious, and your skin starts changing color. Back, you vicious creature. So those are some of your symptoms. Your basic symptoms that most people are going to feel is when you're standing at the bus stop, say you're a kid waiting on the school bus to come, or you're outside raking leaves. Of course, at that point, you're going to be creating some body heat. That's going to help you, and you can always go in and warm up. But yes, things like that are going to hit you first. And it's mostly going to be your face isn't going to work as well. You're not going to talk as well because your cheeks are cold, the muscles around your face are getting cold, and your hands aren't going to want to work as well. So those are signs of get your butt inside. Something you can do if you are wearing gloves is use hand warmers, or they used to, and I've never bought them, but some people have said they work well that I used to work with at the phone company. Heated gloves, heated boots, or heated socks, things like that. It can help keep you warm. So the hand warmers I used to use, but they would get so stinking hot, I really couldn't work very well with them. So I would just take them off, and as I got cold, I would go sit in the truck and warm myself up. So that's how I did it. Some areas the country, I mean, it doesn't get super cold here in Tennessee. We get down to 20 sometimes we'll get down in the low teens, sometimes down to single digits, but that's usually January, February, and we don't have 2 or 3 weeks of anything like that. We just don't get what they get, say, in Alaska or Minnesota, North Dakota, places like that where it really gets cold. So just some things here that this is recommending from what I've researched. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Things that are a leading cause of hypothermia: wearing clothes that aren't warm enough for the weather conditions. Also, wearing very tight, restrictive clothing is very bad. You don't want to restrict that blood flow. So wearing some jeans when it's 20 degrees outside and you're going to be outside for hours on end, probably not the smartest thing in the world to do. Double up. Put on some long johns. Put on some jeans. Maybe put on a cold suit. Or, what do you call it? Coveralls. That's it. Put on some coveralls. Something along those lines. Have the ability to go inside and warm up. You're staying outside too long. Once again, like I just said, staying out here. Have the ability to come inside and warm up. Let's say you fall into water. Fall into water or getting wet. We discussed getting wet earlier, even in 70 degrees. Getting wet, getting out of those clothes and warming up. Don't go jump into a hot shower. That is dumb. That can cause some issues with your body. You throw it into shock, you pass out really quick, really easy. Same way with you getting super hot and jumping into a cold pool or cold water. I'll give you an example. I was out riding one day. It was like 85 degrees, but I'd been out riding for hours, and I was super sweaty under my helmet. My head was sweating. My hair was wet from all the sweat because I hadn't come off that bike in probably 2 hours. All of a sudden, I came into a rainstorm. Temperature dropped about 10 degrees. Cold rain. All of a sudden, I got a super huge headache and I got really dizzy. I had to pull that bike over and started shivering immediately. I had to collect my thoughts sitting there in the cold rain before riding down to a Batco a couple miles down the road, because we were actually coming back because we saw the rain clouds coming in. The storm had hit a lot quicker than what we expected it to. I was riding with several people, and we had to sit there at that map code to get our bodies adjusted to the temperature before we could ride home. So, I mean, that's how quick this can happen. So keep that in mind. If you're wearing a light coat or no coat at all, wind blowing across you, that's also a way you can get dehydrated. Blowing wind, you're out sweating, it's whisking that moisture away from your body. Same way it's whisking the heat. It's going to radiate out like basically like a heater. It's going to help you lose that temperature, and you lose most of your heat through your head, through your feet. You have a lot of heat in your underarms. So if your hands are cold, doing something along these lines, like this. Well, this arm doesn't work quite as well, so bear with me. Like this to help warm up. In your crotch is a good area to keep warm. Huddling up together. So depending on who you're with and how close you are, you might get really close just to save your life. Those are ways your body loses heat. So if you're going to be out, make sure if you don't have it on, you've got it with you, which is why during the wintertime you need to change your vehicle's gear. You need to put a blanket. You need to put some good gloves. You need to put a good hat, toboggan. I bought it as a joke, but I bought one of those Russian soldier hats. You've seen them in plenty of movies. I bought it as a joke, but Dad burned. It got down really cold, and I wore it to work one day, and my head stayed warm. So if you are out, and let's say you're going to be cold weather camping, stop, dog. You're going to be out cold weather camping, and you do start sweating, make sure you have the ability to dry off before it gets really cold. Because if you sweat, you will die, or you can die very quickly. But if you take the time to cool down, let your clothes dry out, you're going to be a whole lot better off. I know what I'm trying to say. I'm just having a hard time getting into words. So just give yourself plenty of time if you're going to be out sweating during the day and you're going to be out at night. So one thing, some other things that can cause it, as you get older, you've been out being extremely physical throughout the day, so your body's tired. Young people, using alcohol changes how your body thinks, or drug use, it changes how your body's adapting to these changing conditions in the cold. Medications can cause issues, like I take blood pressure medicine, and before you say it, it's not because I'm overweight, and I guess I am. I got hurt and I put on about 40 pounds. I'm nowhere in near the shape that I was before I got hurt. It's not my diet, because I had a very, very clean, very good diet. It's hereditary. My dad had it, my mother had it, my grandparents had it, my great-grandparents had it, my sisters have it, so it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to take it. But so what I'm saying is the blood pressure medicine that I take tells me to stay out of the sun. Okay, it also says don't drink alcohol. I'm Southern. You think I'm not going to have some whiskey occasionally? But no, I stay out in the sun. Through the summer, I like being outdoors. This past year I can't ever remember not having such a farmer's tan. But that's what happened this year. So, yeah, medication can cause issues with the weather. I've told you ways to avoid getting it, but I'm going to read this, what it says. Head with a hat, face with a scarf. If it's really cold, the wind's blowing, wear something over your face totally. And I'm not talking about one of these masks that is recommended by the CDC. I'm talking about an actual cold weather mask. You can buy them, ski masks. Anymore, you can buy those things at dollar stores and gas stations for $5-10, and they work very well. Now, if you're doing some serious hiking, things like that, you might want to invest a little bit more in one, but just for average, normal, back and forth to work kind of thing, yeah, something like that will save your butt. Don't sweat a lot. Not wearing your clothes in layers. Like right now, I just got on a t-shirt and a lightweight coat. If I was going to be outside all day long, I would probably have on my t-shirt, a sweatshirt, and a coat. I might have a lighter coat to go into if I needed it, or come out of layers. You can come out of layers as you can put layers on too. So, like we were talking about earlier, stay dry. Stay out of the rain if you can avoid it. Of course, if you fall in a creek, fall through, your ice fishing, which I've never done, fall through the water, you got some serious issues if you fall through the water like that. But yeah, fall through a creek if you're crossing a creek, so you're out camping, hiking, getting out of those wet clothes as quickly as possible. So just stay dry. Get good rest. That is the biggest thing to staying healthy, which will help you when you're out in the cold. Also will help you with disease, staying healthy, getting a good night's sleep. If your body's well rested, you will recover from these things a whole lot quicker, and your body's ability to fight them will help you quite a bit too. So avoid alcohol if you know you're going to be out and about. The warming sensation you get from the alcohol is not actually warming your body up. Sorry, it just isn't. But I'm Southern, therefore I will have my whiskey. I'm going to read a little bit more through here. I had it all laid out in my head, and it's just throughout the morning I've got ribs smoking over here. Unless you're soaking wet, keep your clothes on. Don't come out of clothing just because you're sweating. Just if you're already starting to shiver, don't come out of your clothing. Just saying that, unless you're soaking wet. Yeah, those are the big issues. Those are the big topics. Like I said, I couldn't remember everything off the top of my head, So I did look it up, and that's what we used to get pretty much every year when I worked with the phone company. They went through when it got cold, hypothermia, when it got hot, they went through heat exhaustion, different stages, things to look for. So when you start, basically, when these right here start getting numb, this starts getting numb, your ears start getting numb, and you're blah, 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 mumbling, get your butt in someplace warm, period. Drinking hot fluids, there's debate on that, going back and forth, drinking something hot, not drinking something hot, drinking something cold, not drinking something cold. You don't want to drink, like if you're super hot, you don't want to come in and drink a cold glass of water, not at all, room temperature. So I don't know about warm fluids. Now taking like hot water bottles and putting on your core when the water's not hot, but warm, because you don't want to throw your body into shock. You don't want that blood going back into your heart to shock that heart. You don't want the blood that's been, say, 96 degrees going into that heart, all of a sudden going back in at 99 degrees or 100 degrees, because that can throw your heart. And I'm just making up some numbers, so don't quote me on that one. But you don't want to throw all that warm blood back into your heart when it's been cold. You want to bring your temperature up gradually, which is why they say put on blankets. That's the best thing to do, put on blankets. Don't just jump into a sauna or a hot shower, which I said earlier about the hot shower. So I hope you guys found something useful this video. I know it's a little bit longer. There's just so much to talk about hypothermia. If you have a bug out vehicle or you're a daily driver, change your gear around if you carry stuff like that. Hat, thicker boots, thicker socks, gloves, hand warmers, a blanket. Carry stuff like that. Change it up from season to season. And if you do have issues, your chances are a lot better to survive it. So, if you guys got something out of it, if you did, give me a thumbs up, share the video. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will get back with you as quickly as possible. But more importantly, remember, the most important thing is that there are very few problems in life that cannot be solved by a battleship broadside. Have a great rest of your day.